Kristina Angel here with Go for Greatness Now. I'm on day 6 of my 30-day challenge. Build your confidence to build your success. And the Kristina-Ism today is a big one, and I know it will resonate with a lot of people. And it is deal with your debt. That's right. They're saying Americans, over 60% of Americans have debt. So this is a big subject matter, and it's personal to me because at one point in my life, I had $100,000 in debt. Yikes. And I can say this, it was one of the worst times in my life. Debt, it kills your confidence. And in this video, we're trying to show you how we are able to build confidence to deal with the debt. And debt is a tough subject matter. At the point I had it, I didn't even tell anybody I was in debt. And it also made me have anxiety, and I created panic attacks. So I know how you can feel when you're in debt. You have low to no self-esteem, and you're not feeling good about yourself. How I got in my debt, I had started a business, and for a couple years it was going great. And then I hit a bump in the road, and I was making no money. And in 2 to 3 years, I accumulated $100,000 in credit card debt. I also had some student loans, but the majority was credit card debt to pay my bills. But let me tell you, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I got out of it in 6 months. And 2 years later, I bought my first home. So there is hope for you. And I got 7 tips that I personally use to get out of debt. So let's get to the tips. But before I do, please stay with this video because tip number 4 and tip number 7, they are critical. You have to do these or it really won't work. So here we go. Tip number 1. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. I know the experts say when you're sedentary, you start overthinking about your debt, and that doesn't help anything. One thing I could suggest, I was working out almost every day. And so if you're not working out, try to go for some walks. Exercise, movement, it increases endorphins. Those are your happy hormones, and it decreases your cortisol levels. These are your stress hormones. So definitely keep movement on top of it. Since my business wasn't bringing any income in, I did odd jobs. I did anything I could do to bring money in. I was looking on Craigslist for odd jobs, but I can recommend a few things because there's like Uber and Lyft. I was in one the other day, and the guy said they have a program that will actually buy the car for you, and they'll take the monthly payments out of the money you make. So right there, you can start doing an odd job and making extra money. I did some food demos at appliance stores on the weekends, but pick whatever odd jobs you can, but keep it moving. Try to bring the income in. Tip number 2, you want to surround yourself with positivity. You're not feeling good when you have debt. Let me tell you, I know it. I felt bad every day. So bringing in positivity was critical. One tip that I did read the book, The Secret. It is about the law of attraction, and it's about how thoughts and feelings, and positive thoughts and feelings can become things. It was so helpful. Another thing for positivity, I turned to my faith. For years, I hadn't really talked to God. I hadn't prayed. I didn't ask for Him for help in the past. I turned to God. I prayed every morning, and I asked Him for support. It was so helpful. So if you are someone that believes in God, turn to your faith. So important. Also, I got encouragement from my then boyfriend. He was so encouraging. So ask your true loved ones for some support. Tell them, say, I'm going through a tough night. I need some encouragement. This will help. Also, check out my channel. I did a video on the power of positivity, and I have I am affirmations and encouragements. They will help with this positivity as well. So tip number 3, you want to go to the experts. That's what I did right away. I had this debt and I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know how to face it. I went to the experts. So I typed into Google and to YouTube, and I was very specific. I had college debt, college loans. So I typed in how to handle college loans, college debt. I had credit card debt. That was my major one. How to fix my credit card debt. I also put in how to negotiate credit card debt because I had bought a book on this. But this is critical. Now, if you have student loans right now and you have other debt, a tip here is you can ask and see if they allow forbearance. A couple of my student loans allowed me to go into forbearance for a few months, which just puts your payments on pause. It doesn't ding your credit, so I highly recommend that. But the other ones, I found specific people that helped with a credit card debt, and I bought a book about negotiating credit card debt. So definitely go to the experts. There's also companies out there that can negotiate your credit card debt for you. They are experts in this area. But definitely look at the reviews. Go on Yelp, go on Google, and check the Better Business Bureau if you go that way with those experts. But the experts help me to gain some skills and knowledge to handle my debt. So here we go. Tip number 4. I was talking about this one. It is so important. You gotta face your debt. I was talking to a few friends of mine, and they had done the same things. I was in debt. I didn't know how much I was in debt. I was taking the statements and throwing them into folders. On my computer, I was throwing them on folders and my physical folders. My girlfriend was telling me she was throwing the statements in a drawer. So now it was time. I said, Kristina, I've listened to the experts. I'm starting to build my confidence a little because I was getting knowledge. Knowledge makes you confident. So I was building my confidence, but now it was time to face this debt. So I sat down one day, pulled out the folders. I had 3 student loans and 6 credit cards with debt, and I started adding them up. I added them up till I got the total, and it was $100,000. But let me tell you, when I faced my debt, it was a relief. There was more pain and anxiety by not facing than face it. I'm going to give you a little tip here. I set up an Excel spreadsheet to add up my debt, and each worksheet I had 3 worksheets for the 3 college loans I had, and I had 6 worksheets for each credit card. Then I had a worksheet for the total. But get organized here. When you face it, you want to add it up, put it in a spreadsheet. I ideally recommend this. But facing debt, when you face this debt, look at the debt. And let me tell you, this debt doesn't define you. It's debt. It's not you. So I want you to face it and look at the debt and say, you're not defining me. I'm going to define me, and I'm going to get out of this debt. Facing debt is so critical, but you got to face it, look at it, and say, you don't define me, I define me. So tip number 5, next thing, you need a game plan, and this is important. With this game plan, have specifics with deadlines and deliverables. So let me give you some examples what I did. Part of my game plan was to continue on doing the odd jobs. I was doing food demos on the weekend, odd jobs during the week, and it was pretty steady. But it wasn't going to be enough to pay my bills long term. But part of my game plan is to say, all right, continue the odd jobs, but I also had another game plan. During the time I did my odd jobs, I got an idea for a new business. And this new business wasn't going to cost me anything but my time. I could actually piggyback it off the business that was currently making no money. So part of my plan is, I said, for 30 days, I'm going to put in 4 to 6 hours a day marketing this new business. Part of it, though, I had some deliverables. I said, if I don't get one client in the next month, then my other plan was to look for a full-time job and go back into corporate America. However, I was an entrepreneur. I didn't want to do this, so I was going to really, for a month, focus on marketing the new business idea. Now, another part of my plan is tackling the debt. One decision I made, I put a couple of my student loans in forbearance for about 6 months. This way, it put the payments on hold and gave me a little relief. Now, as far as the credit card debt, I read a book on negotiating your credit card debt, and I decided, since I had a skill in negotiations, I said, I'm going to negotiate my debt. And so part of the plan was going to be calling my credit cards and definitely get the ball rolling on this. So I got a game plan in place for my debt, as well as a plan to bring money in. But you got to have a game plan, and you got to stick with your deliverables. So tip number 6, now it's action time. You got to put that game plan into action. So here I did. I kept doing my odd jobs, and each day I spent 4 to 6 hours marketing this plan. I was making the calls, sending the emails, doing whatever I needed to do. And you know what? Within 1 week, I got my first client. And you know why? Because I put my game plan into action. It's so important. I also started calling the credit card companies. And part of the negotiations, you can't just make one call. You got to negotiate it hard. You start as low as possible. I was like, can you just forgive it? They were like, nope. And little by little, we were negotiating. I negotiated around 40% of what I owed. But negotiate hard if you're going to negotiate, and make the phone calls. So tip number 7, and this is so critical, you have to do this. If you're in debt, never give up. Never give up. There was one time, it was a day I was so low. It looked like I was going to give up. But you know what made me not give up was my faith. I went to God. I prayed, and let me tell you, I said, you know what? I'm not giving up ever. God made me to be better than this. And let me tell you, never give up. You're worth it. You just got to stay there and say, I'm worth it. This debt is not defining me. I'm going to define myself, and never give up. So let me tell you, this worked. I was able to negotiate my debt in 6 months, and then in 2 years I bought my first home. But let me tell you, you can do this as well. I'm here for you. I know how you feel, but try these tips out. I can tell you, you can be successful. So these are my 7 tips. And as I always say, things are better when we do them together. Subscribe to my channel. Like my videos. Hit the bell for notifications. Check out my other videos. I'm going to even bring out more videos to come. Because on this journey of building confidence to build success, We're on this together. Thanks.